My name is Dominique Mohammed. I'm 29 years old. I'm from Portland, Oregon. And this past year, I faced and defeated one of the toughest battles that I've ever faced in my life. When I was 20 years old, I was diagnosed with Hodkins lymphoma stage 4. I'm gonna bring on fellow cancer survivors to show you guys not only that you can beat any cancer, but that you can beat your zombie, whatever that is in life.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Beast vs. Zombie. Before we get started here, make sure to follow the podcast on all social media platforms at Beast vs. Zombie. Follow on Spotify and YouTube, and you can see the full videos. You can stay up to date on new episodes coming out every other week. On the socials, we have lives, Monday motivation. On every other Wednesday, I'm coming to you with the other's perspective. I'm bringing people on that have not actually had cancer, but have dealt with cancer in some sort of aspect to understand and bring the perspective on how cancer has affected them and other people in their life. Go check out the website at BeastvsZombie.com. I got merchandise for you guys. I got shirts. I got swimwear. I got joggers. I got leggings for the girls. I got hats. I got a phone case. You know, all proceeds, 10% of proceeds go to cancer research and cancer awareness. So go check that out and make sure that you stay locked in on everything Beast vs. Zombie. Today, I have a special guest with me. Ms. Rain is on the show. She's joining in from New York. She's an inspirational singer, two-time cancer survivor. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me on.
And so, just to get started here, I wanted to start this out in a special way. I wanted to ask you, what kind of advice would you give somebody that's going through any kind of challenge in their life, big or small?
The advice I would give someone is you have to think about life as a gift because every day we wake up is a gift. So anything you're going through, understand that it is a trial and tribulation, but it's to get you to your glory. A lot of us don't understand that these trials and tribulations is what makes us great. I know it sounds crazy now because you're going through the emotion right now and it feels hard. But I always try to be optimistic. When I was battling cancer, 2015, inside the hospital, I kept thinking about something positive and believing that I was going to be healthy. So I kept visualizing your thoughts. I realized your thoughts become things. So if you think good thoughts, that's what you're going to get. If you think negative thoughts, that's what you're going to get. So you get more of whatever you think about, on a constant basis. So I kept thinking about Christmas. I know it sounds silly, but I absolutely love Christmas. And it was like towards the end of the year. And I kept seeing myself cancer free and I kept seeing myself healthy celebrating Christmas. And that's exactly what happened in 2015. So thoughts become things. Watch your thoughts.
That's awesome. I love that. I totally believe that. I know going through my whole journey, I would always constantly reaffirm myself like that. I'm healthy and imagine that. I think the
Amen.
imagination is an extremely underrated skill.
It
And
is.
as an adult, you kind of start to lose your imagination. You grow up, people kind of impose limitations on you. The world
Yes.
kind of imposes limitations on you, and it starts to tell you that you should think this way. And when you were a kid, you didn't have all that, and your imagination just ran wild, right? And you
That's
had
why I
all
love
this
children.
fun. Yeah. And I think it's very important for adults to like keep their inner child with them
Amen.
throughout their lives because there's extremely key mindsets and mental things that you did as a child naturally that's your natural
Actually.
self and people forget who they really are. You know what I'm
Amen.
saying?
I agree.
And so I love that you were able to imagine yourself in Christmas, and it became real. Everything happens twice. It happens in your head, and then it happens in real life, right?
Right.
But you have to hold on to that dream, to that imagination, to that thought. In order, you can't quit. You know what I'm saying? You can't give up, and then you can't, like you said, you can't think about the lack of it or the opposite or the things you don't want, because then you'll get that too. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I love that you said that. That's really cool. So I know you beat cancer twice now. So what kind of cancer did you have?
I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma 2 times, 2010, and then they considered it a relapse in 2015. And I heard your story, and I was like, I had stage 4 as well. So I'm grateful to be here. I don't know if you want me to tell that story yet, but I can
Yeah,
elaborate on
you
it.
can share
Okay.
anything you want. Feel free to share anything you want. You know, this is it's real simple. It's
I'm
no script
smiling
here.
because I'm like always happy, and I'm happy to be on this interview, and I'm happy to be
Yeah.
alive. I remember I used to work for the police department in New York City school safety division. So shout out to my agents that are still working, because that's not an easy job. We work with the inner city kids all the time inside the schools. And one day I came from work, stressful day as usual, and I had a sharp pain right here on my chest, and it made me grab underneath my arm, and that's where I feel like God showed me where it was at, because I didn't realize I had a mass under my arm. I didn't even notice it until that very moment. And I went to excuse me, I went to the doctor, and she is so sweet. My doctor's awesome. Her name was Dr. Morgan. She was like, she thought it was an abscess. So not all the time is it cancer, so she treated it as such. But good thing I went to check. And 2 weeks later, she was like, that's not normal for it not to move, because she had given me antibiotics. So she said, we have to give you a biopsy. Now, I didn't know what a biopsy was, because I've never been in the hospital. I don't have any children. I've never been hospitalized. So it was all new to me. And she sent me for a biopsy. And then 2 weeks later, she said, you have cancer. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I started crying. I went outside the room. I called my mom. I called my family. And everybody was devastated. They treated me. Immediately, I was at one hospital where she treated me. But I had someone recommend that I go to Memorial Sloan Kettering, because they treat cancer fully, all the time. So they said where you get treated makes a difference. So I took key to what she said, and I went to Memorial Sloan Kettering in Manhattan. And I had to start chemo immediately. Man, that was something, because taking chemo is so, like, I don't even know the word. Like, your mind, like I said, your mind. I felt like they gave me this. It was like ABVD or something like that, because there's
That's
so
what I
many
had.
different cancers. Yeah, and it was like a big red tube. So I would say I was a little nervous from the red tube, because when they did it intravenous for me the first time, because I was
Hmm.
afraid to get the port, not realizing that the port would have been better, but I didn't know
Super
that.
helpful.
So right, so I did the intravenous, and I would feel the medicine like cold going up my arm, and I had to have that for 6 months. And the first 3 months, I was trooping it. I was going to work. Everything was fine. But then my health started to kind of like decline as far as how I felt physically. I was worn out. My stomach was always nauseous. And so I would drink seltzer water to help with the nausea. I don't know why that helped, but it did. And I don't know. I didn't lose my hair. They made me cut my hair, because they say that psychologically it would be better if you cut your hair when it starts to fall out. So I did. But let me tell you something. I'm really silly and like to have fun. When I cut my hair, as you can see, it's been 10 years now. I've been cancer free. And I haven't grown my hair back, because that initial cut, it was like 10 pounds came off my head. I'm Afro Latina, and I didn't realize how heavy my hair was until I cut it off. And I was like, oh, I feel free. So I'm not growing it back. But I got through it. I thought I was fine. I went back to work to the police department, and you had to be full duty. They put me back, and I thought I was good. I was like, okay, I beat cancer. Yay. 5 years later, it came back. And when it came back, I had gotten sick with a cold, and our glands sometimes tend to swell up. So this side of my neck had swelled up, and it was pretty obvious, and it was in pain. So I went to a doctor again. This time I went to like an urgent care because I didn't know what was going on. I just had a regular cold because they get colds all the time. And he said, that doesn't look good. You need to go back to the hospital, to your oncologist, and check with them. I said, okay. So I go back. I'm a very tough woman. You'll learn that as you go along. I'm a CEO for a long time. I was a sergeant for 8 years. So I went back to the hospital, and the chief of the hospital, this is a true story, I'm not going to say his name. He says, that's not cancer. He looked at me and said, that's not cancer. I said, what? I said, sir, this has been here for 30 days. I said, well, I need you to check it anyway. But see, you have to be an advocate for your own self, because if you don't speak up, sometimes these hospitals and doctors, no offense, they will dismiss you. You know, they see so much all the time. You know, they can't play God, you know? So I was like, I need you to check it. And it was cancer again. It was Hodkins lymphoma for the second time. So they told me, you relapsed with cancer. And like, again, it's foreign to me. I'm like, I relapsed? Like, it came back? What happened? So they said, well, when people relapse, we opt for a stem cell transplant. And I'm like, what? So they broke down the entire stem cell transplant to me. And I got approved for it, thankfully. But in order to get a stem cell transplant, they have to get you cancer-free first. And the part I forgot to mention is Hodgkin's lymphoma is a curable cancer. So I've been told, right? There's treatable cancers and then there's curable cancers. Ours was curable. So I went into the hospital for the second time, but the first time, but before I went to like stay 31 days to fight for my life, I had to have radiation. So I'm being treated with radiation. I was as dark as you, okay? I was looking like a French fry. I lost all my hair. It was crazy. Like it was scary. It was scary. I'm not gonna say it wasn't scary. But I always had this inner light with me that no matter where I'm at, I'm going to laugh and smile, because one time I remember being in the hospital and a stem cell transplant costs $100,000. So I'm very blessed to be able to have had that treatment with the cost, because the insurance did cover it. Like, a lot of people don't even get those stories. So I'm in the hospital. I remember, I'm very tough, like I said. So I'm in the hospital room. They're wheeling me downstairs in a wheelchair to go get radiation, because I had to have it twice a day. And they kept telling me, the stronger you are and the more that you do, you know, you can get out of the hospital faster. So when they brought me the wheelchair, I said, I'm not getting in the wheelchair. And then the lady said, you have to get in the wheelchair. And I was like, no, I don't. This is my life. You told me if I keep my strength, I will be able to go home faster. So I'm going to walk downstairs. So she had to go get the doctors or whoever to clear that I can walk downstairs. And I walked right down to the radiation. And there was a little boy, I never forget. He was about 5 years old, and he was being treated for cancer. And my radiation machine was huge. It was a big white machine, and I was afraid. I'm not gonna lie, I was afraid to get in that thing because it was just scary. And the child next to me, who's 5 years old fighting cancer, he said, that looks like a spaceship. And I wasn't scared anymore. I was like, holy shoot, this child sees it as a spaceship. So from then on that day, I saw it as a spaceship. I was like, I'm just getting in a cool spaceship. And they gave me all these tattoos. They gave me like 10 tattoos on my body so they could pinpoint where the radiation should go. And they're like the size of like a pen. I don't know if that happened to you, but a pen, just a little pen. So you really don't see them. But yeah, I was in the hospital. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I was throwing up. My friends were coming to see me, and when they were coming to see me, I was talking to my friends who, you know who your friends are when you're sick too. All 10 people that showed up, yeah, and 2 of them are gone now, which is crazy. Life is crazy. I was throwing up while they were talking to me, and I was embarrassed. I was literally apologizing for being sick, which is crazy. So I realized later, I was like, I'm such a nice person that I'm apologizing to people that's coming to see me and throwing them. I realized it later, but life for me has been so crazy. Like, I'm grateful that I got through it. While I was in the hospital, I had my partner. You guys don't know, and you'll learn. I had a partner for 7 years, and she lost her life to COVID. So that's moving forward in 2020. But during that 2015 stay, she was there with me, and we had a projector. We were watching movies. She had plugins in the wall, so it was making my room smell really good. The nurses would come in. They didn't want to leave. We had YouTube going where I was doing exercise for 8 minutes every day. So they were like, you're like the strongest stem cell person we ever seen. And one thing that saved my life was music. There was a gentleman that used to come around our room, and he had a guitar. And he came in and said, would you like to sing a song? And I love music since a little girl. And I was like, yeah, I've been singing since I was 10. So I sang a Lauryn Hill song with his like storybook or whatever he had. And he said, you can really sing. And I was like, wow, this is cool. So it was like music therapy, you know? So there was so many beautiful things that did happen inside of that environment. Even a gentleman, he just like post stem cell 10 days, and he walked from his house to the hospital and came in my room to give his testimony to show that he came through it, and now look at him. So he was giving me encouragement. Just so many things happened in that room. I was like, and I believe in God, so I was like, God keeps showing up. He just keeps showing up. And I walked out of there. Well, they had to put me in a wheelchair officially, but the last part I didn't like. I had a port right here in my chest, and the thing really hurt. I was creating, because when women, I don't know if they have them, but when women have, you know, heavy over here, it pulls on it. So I was creating this thing with a stocking to hold it up, not having to wear the woman, you know, brassiere, because that port gets pulled, and it's an open wound, and you have to constantly clean it. My partner, I would look away like this because I don't like blood or anything nasty, and she would clean it for me and then like reattach the adhesive. It was like antibiotic adhesive. I don't know if you ever had that, but they had to do that. And so when I was getting ready to go home, I had to swallow a pill, which my throat was really swollen, and I kept trying to swallow a baby pill, and it kept popping back out. And I would cry, and I'm like, I want to go home so bad. So I kept trying, and I kept trying. And they said, one more thing. When you can swallow that pill, you can go home, and we have to take your port out. So I was happy to get the port out. But when I get downstairs, the guy snatched it out. He ripped it out of my chest. And I started screaming. I was crying. I was like, why did you do that? And he said, if I would have gave you the needle to numb you, to take it out, it would have been worse than what I just did to you. And I just cried. I was laying on, like, you know, the hospital bed, and I was like, oh, okay, at least I get to go home, you know. So I got through those 31 days, but my real birthday is 5/29, and my new stem cell transplant birthday is September 17, 2015. So I keep telling people I'm like 10 years old, so don't mind me when I be acting silly, because I like jet skis, and I like to have fun, and I like to turn up everywhere I go. So they like, damn, you always happy. I'm like, you know what the problem is? You see our t-shirts? I say, you're not living your best life, because every day you wake up is a new life. You get to choose. Good or bad, you get to choose. So I'm like, I choose happiness every single day, because I know what it feels like to almost, you know, not make it, you know. And so I'm a walking, breathing miracle. We're both walking, breathing, living miracles, and I believe we're walking, breathing testimonies of the actual Bible, because when you go in the Bible, you're reading past stories, right? And those past stories get you through your current situation. But we're currently alive, and we currently survived. So I'm going to thrive, and I'm not going to apologize for being great. That's it. It is what it is. Yeah, some people didn't make it. When I was in the hospital, 2015, I remember sitting on the bed. I didn't like my bed, because they had the bed that kind of like moves every so often so you don't get sores or anything. And I hated it. I was like, I'm not sleeping on that bed. I'll sleep on the couch, right? So I have this pole attached to me, 31 days, and they tell you got to go walk in the hallway 14 times. And I tell you, there were some days I didn't want to walk in the hallway. I was tired. My legs had swelled up from too much salt or something. And my partner, she was quite tough, militant, and she was like, get your and walk. And I was like, okay. I'm like, okay. I was like, okay. But that they wanted you to do the 14 every day so you could strengthen your body. It's pretty deep. So it's kind of giving me a good flashback because I've gained weight now, so I need to go walk outside and do 14. Seriously. So yeah, seriously, because I've been too happy eating too much. My man's a chef, so he's been cooking for me. I'm like, stop cooking me. He said, you got to eat salads. I said, okay. Yeah, but I'm laughing now because life is great on this side. When I was going through it, it was pretty rough. I have a friend, and I do want to say her name, if that's okay. Yes. Her name is Sasha Wilshire. And she and I were in the police department together. We both survived. She survived breast cancer, and I had survived Hodkins lymphoma. So we used to work in this building in Queens, and we were in the elevator together, and we were comparing our new growth because the hair grows back very, very small, and we were laughing at each other and stuff like that. So when I was in the hospital in the stem cell transplant time, I was watching my phone. Because, we always have our phones. And I was looking at Facebook, and I realized that there was a ceremony when the police department has ceremonies in the street. Someone passes away. So I'm looking at it, and I didn't know what was happening. Sasha Wilshire went into the hospital to have a surgery to remove a mass, and she passed away. And I didn't know it was her until I looked at my phone, and I kept trying to figure out who it was because my heart is very sensitive, and I'm trying to figure out who it is, who is this, and it was my friend. She didn't make it the second time, and I'm in the hospital fighting for my life. So I just started bawling. I started crying. I was like, I know that right now as I speak to you, I have a purpose bigger than me to serve mankind because a lot of people, I have a lot of friends in heaven. So I'm grateful for this interview because I'm a young lady from Bushwick, Brooklyn. I come from humble beginnings, but I know that the rest of my life is going to be the best of my life because at least I live to tell my story and tell other people's stories too, She didn't get to tell her story. She didn't get to tell it. And she had 3 children. So I had like survivor's remorse. We tend to go through that. You like, how come I survived and that person didn't? And she had 3 children, and I met her children. So it was like, oh my gosh. I literally said to God, I was like, I would have traded places with her just so she could be here for her kids. I'm very selfless, but we don't get to call the shots. God has his ultimate, whatever his plans are, and we can't question it. So I just keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, well, you have an amazing story. That's crazy. I can relate to a lot of it. Before we keep going, I want to point out, like, we're living our best life. These are the shirts that
Yes.
Rain made this shirt for me, and sent this over to me. So go and check out Rain. Tell everybody where they can get your shirts from, or how they
All
can
right,
find you.
so I'm not fancy yet with the website because I saw your website and I was like, oh, I need one of those. I just do person to person right now, so I'm on so many social medias, but I'll start with Instagram. I'm on there. Rain is REIGN in success, so it's REIGN, the letter IN, then the word success. You can find me there. And I love Instagram, and I love TikTok. I'm also on TikTok, Rain and Success. Rain and Success. And then I have another one called Rain the Digital Queen because I do digital marketing. The Rain the Digital Queen is I'm helping other cancer survivors. So it's Rain the Digital Queen 1111 because I'm very big into numbers. So I've been meeting a lot of cancer survivors. I'm also HIV positive for many, many years. That's a whole nother story, another day. When I was 30 years old, I was diagnosed with that. And I have a feeling that they kind of collided somehow. Because I did my research. I'm a research girl. And I was like, I think that one had something to do with the other because my immune system was compromised. So the germs got let in, and here we go with the cancers. So I'm grateful to share my testimony. I share it everywhere I go. I sing a lot of places. So God is opening that door for me. I've been singing since I was 10. And at the age of 2014, I opened the music recording studio. I never went to school for business at all. I just have this thing about business. I love business. So my partner, may she rest in peace, we lost her to COVID. She was like, I want to open a music recording studio. My brother, Johnny, he was engineering prior to that anyway, and he sang too. So I said, what do you think about opening a music recording studio? And I owned a building in Bushwick. I was a landlord for 8 years. I've done everything. Trust me when I tell you. I was a landlord for 8 years after battling cancer, 2010. And then I invested in the studio in my basement. I started in my basement. We started really nice and small, but it was popping. We had customers sitting in our lounge while waiting for the next session to be over. Like, it just kept flowing. And then it got kind of tough in that space, so I upgraded that space to a commercial property and opened that one. Both studios were built. We had to pay for both of them to be built, so we closed one, opened a bigger one, and I wound up doing. I'm more like a risk taker. I'm a risk taker because I know that I almost didn't make it. Is why I live the way I live, because you should just take chances. I don't think you should wait until something happens to live your life. I think you should just live your life. But now that I understood, life or death, I was on the skirt of that. I was like, oh well, I'm gonna try everything. So we went into music business. We managed. We traveled to Nashville, Tennessee. I've been backstage at the Dove Awards. Literally walking in Nashville, the Dove Awards, and I didn't know where I was because the artist we were working with, her name is Mari Burrell, and my first artist is Louis Peso. He's a rapper. He made it. He got him a $3 million deal. He's doing great. And then Mari Burrell has like 4 million followers on Instagram. So I love both of them. It's just different genres of music, different times in our lives. And so we got to travel to Nashville, Tennessee because she invited us. And when I tell you, Mari Burrell knows everybody. I was sitting with people that had 24 Grammys. I was like, whoa! And let me tell you, they're the most humblest people you want to meet. In New York, if you even have a song, their head is swollen. I sat with people and they got 16, 24 Grammys. I said, y'all have no idea. And then she was connected to the Newsboys, who I absolutely love. They're a country Christian band. And she would take us backstage with them. So I got to meet the managers. Like, I've done so many things. It's crazy. I did a 24-hour run with Ray J. And I was driving the Mercedes. I was driving the Mercedes. My whole camp was inside my car. The guy that we knew, that we did business with, he knew Ray J. So he took us to the studio in Manhattan, Premier Studios. And I'm sitting there. I'm a cancer survivor, right? I'm in awe. Like, I'm sitting, like, this is my couch. And he's sitting at one end and I'm sitting at the other end. And I'm like, yo, I'm sitting in the room with Ray J. This is crazy. We did a 12-hour, session with him. And then from there, we went to Washington, D.C., where he had to make an appearance. And I stayed in the car because there was no parking in Washington. And I was like, I don't really want to go inside. Y'all have fun. And then from there, we went to Virginia. So we're following behind him in his Bentley. I never forget. It was the coolest thing. He had like Secret Service around him. But his Bentley was like a lime green. So I didn't forget. I'm very colorful. So I didn't forget the colors. And then he took us to Virginia. And we walked in a sneaker store. And in the back was a studio. The firest thing I've ever seen. I was like, yo, we lit. So, and this is all after battling cancer for the second time. And man, God has been in my story. And he's blessing me continuously because I keep sharing forward. And so I'm grateful. The studio had to close, unfortunately, during the pandemic because my partner, her name was Jocelyn Walton. She was a very, very big inspiration in my life. And 7 years we were together. And COVID came in. She got it. And 3 weeks later, she was gone. So that was another pivotal, am I saying it right? Moment in my
Pivotal.
life. Yeah, pivotal moment in my life that I almost gave up. I
Yeah.
thought cancer was hard. That was harder.
Mm.
I'm not kidding. It was harder because when you lose somebody in 3 weeks span, just like that, I didn't know where to put my face. So thankfully,
Mm.
my brother, shout out to Tico in Texas, he served the country. My father's a retired veteran. They're both retired veterans. He said, "Sis, you need a grievance counselor." Because I wasn't talking good. I was talking crazy. I was talking
Yeah.
like suicidal. It was bad. And I just wanted to give up. Because I felt like, all right, look, I got slapped with cancer twice. Now this. I'm like, I'm exhausted. So I was really, really tired. And I was just like, this life has been so difficult. Like, why do I keep getting hit with stuff? And so that was a moment that I was like really down, depressed. And then I went homeless. I'm not kidding. Because the money from the studio, I lost. I
Mm.
was making good money and I couldn't sustain my lifestyle by myself. So my aunt took me in. I slept on the couch at 47 and I'm scratching my head like, how the heck did I get here?
Mm.
Holy shoot. But I did pray. I did not quit and I have a good support system. So I want to tell anybody on here, a lot of people just need your support, even if it's just a call. It's a how you feeling. It's a kind gesture. Tell people you love them while you're alive, because a lot of us don't speak our truth, and we're quick to judge, but we're not quick to forgive, and that's really not a good thing for people to be like that, because if you're judging somebody, that means you're judging yourself, and we're all fall short of something, all of us.
Yes.
Everybody has work to work on something, and even when you get to the best of yourself, you're still not there, because you're always learning something and times are always evolving and changing. So that's why I'm just really humble. I'm very humble to where I'm at. I'm not better than anybody. I just want more out of life because, well, I almost lost it a couple of times.
Yes.
And I know people that didn't make it. So that's where I'm at right now in my life. Grateful for gratefulness. Maybe I should just write that on my shirt. I'm just grateful for having something called life.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I
I
hope,
man.
I hope I'm not talking too much.
No, 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 you good. That's the
Okay.
point of this. That's why I have you here to share everything that
Okay.
you got going on. And I really appreciate you sharing all this. It's a beautiful story. You've been through so much. You've been through so much. Man, I love that, obviously nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? So you and I, we have a kind of mindset. We're very similar in a lot of ways. We had the same kind of cancer. Just like you, I relapsed. I had cancer when I was 19. I beat it in 4 years. I was in remission for 3 years, and then it came back. I
Oh
relapsed. I
wow.
did two bone marrow transplants. The first time I did, because I did that first ABVD treatment, and in those first 6 months, you have a 70% chance of getting through and getting good results and being cured. I was the 30%, so I wasn't cured. So I went, I did extra
Wow.
radiation. Like you say, you get little tattoos. I have tattoos all over my body, so but like you get the little tattoos for the radiation. I did little radiation treatments. Eventually, I did an immunotherapy treatment called nivolumab. That eventually got me into remission. And and
Wow.
then I did a bone marrow transplant, a stem cell transplant, where I gave myself my own cells originally,
Me
because
too.
initially, so when I did give myself my own cells, it didn't work. I went through all that, like you said, your 30 days in the hospital. You went through all that radiation. You were broke down. You was in the hospital. You were all your friends and your family. You was going through. You was walking. You were quarantined to the one floor, and it didn't work. So then after I came
Oh,
out, then I
wow.
did eventually get into remission through the immunotherapy, through the nivolumab, and it was all good. I was in remission for 3 years, and I thought I was good. You know,
Mm.
just like I thought everything is all gravy. I'm cool. I'm living life again. I beat cancer. I'm on top of the
Right.
world. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I got the date that I got my first port taken out of my chest. I got it tattooed on my leg. I was juiced, and then 3 years later it comes back, and I'm like, okay, it came back. It came back the same way. I had a lymph node swollen in my neck. It
Wow.
came so it came back the same way. I knew immediately. I went to a local oncologist. He referred me, and then now 3 years later, research had changed a little bit, and I could do like a half match or a quarter match because initially when I was trying to do the bone marrow transplant, you needed a full match or you had to give yourself your own cells. And luckily, like you and I, we didn't have cancer in our T cells. So right, you did a bone marrow biopsy.
Yes.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
trying to climb up the wall. That thing hurt so bad.
That's like one of
And
the
my
most
mother was sitting
painful
there
things I ever did.
watching
Yeah, my
me.
mom was sitting there.
She started screaming.
My mom, my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, that was crazy." Yeah, she
It
was,
was
she
no
was, she was
joke.
quiet, but she was like, "Wow, that was crazy. I can't
It
believe
was
you did that."
scary. You know
You
what? I
know,
asked them what happened. They said when the needle goes in your back, it's numbing, but when they pull it out, it's not numb. Oh
nah, that you
man.
can't numb your bones. You can numb everything except for the bones, right? And like I've done multiple bone marrow tests, and some of them have been like less painful. Some of them I felt it shoot down my whole leg. And like
Oh my
it's just an
god.
uncomfortable thing. I don't wish that on nobody to have to get a
Nobody.
bone marrow test. But so yeah, so then I got a second bone marrow transplant, and I've been cancer free for now the past like going on 4 years or something. I think now it's about 4 years. I got out in like June, July, 4 years ago, and man,
Thank
like I
God.
said, a lot of the stuff that we've gone through is very similar.
Wow.
I was in the hospital. I get in there. I'm like I don't have weights or nothing, right? But I'm doing like lunges, jump lunges. I'm walking through like when I first get in there, right? I'm feeling good. Then,
Right.
like you said, music therapy, man. These headphones right here got me through so much. I would sit on the spin
Right.
bike sometimes. We had like a little view from the hospital, OHSU in Oregon, and I would just sit on the spin bike and just kind of zone out and just be in my headphones. Kendrick Lamar came out with an album, I think the last transplant. So I'm listening to a lot of Kendrick. Um, man, so
See.
yeah, music therapy, the music, and like you said, I have a lot of gratitude, right? Obviously, your perspective changes a lot when you go through something that's like I guess you could say life threatening, right?
Yeah.
And your
Yeah.
perspective, you become a lot more grateful, right? And it's funny, I
Mm.
was thinking while I'm listening to you, there's been times when I could relate to you and I'm getting goosebumps or like I kind of teared up a couple times while I was listening to your story right now. And I
Mm.
watched a video the other day and they did a study where they said, they say love and gratitude is the highest vibration that you can be at, right? But then throughout the study, they said they saw these points, these random points in the study. They like had all these people and they basically had them thinking love and thought, and they had them thinking like negative thoughts, and they saw what it did. But they saw these points where the energy levels were off the charts. They were way past, like 10 times past love and what gratitude, and um, they called them genuine moments. And it was times when people got goosebumps. People were getting
I can
goosebumps, and that so I had a couple of moments um like while you were telling your story like that, and that just came to mind.
Wow.
um
I can hear you, but you froze or something. Oh, okay. I came
okay,
back. Just for a few
so
seconds. It's good.
no, it's all good. So it might freeze a little bit, but at the end it'll be all good. So like don't worry about the quality. It's there, I promise you, it's there.
Okay. Okay.
um and so, man, so yeah, I'm so happy that you got through. It's so funny you brought up the story about Ray J. I mean, it was the other morning. I get up every morning at like 4:30.
Ray
I'm
J
bumping Ray
crazy.
J. I'm rubbing
No way.
Ray J. It's crazy. Me and my girlfriend be listening. She like pays more attention to his life, but I be listening to his music. It's like 4 in the morning. I'm driving home from the airport. I dropped my nephew off. I'm listening to Wait a Minute. of smashing, I'm bumping Ray J.
Yeah.
That's so funny. You brought up that whole story.
That's
That's so
funny.
cool. It's
Yeah, it was
awesome
fun.
how resilient your life is. I really appreciate and applaud you for how resilient you've been in everything you've gone through in your life. I think having faith, like you said, God has worked he works in mysterious ways is what they
Yeah,
say,
he
but
does.
he has you here for a reason, and I believe that about myself as well. Cancer gave me a lot of purpose. It gave me a lot of purpose in my life.
Amen.
It made me realize, and it gave me a different perspective, but it gave me a reason, more of a reason to try and give back to people, to help. And that's what I do with this podcast. That's why we're sharing your story here. That's
Right.
why I do everything I do, man, is to try and give back and try to help people overcome their challenges in their lives and understand that they can show up for themselves.
Amen.
And so I, man, like your story is insane because you bounce back from this, you bounce back from that, you overcame this, you overcame that. Like you have an amazing story. And in all of that, right, you had to, you like, they say, I've been seeing all these posts. They say like the people that care the most tend to go through the most things. You know what I'm saying? And because we care so much about the people in our lives, about other people, I care
Right.
about people in general, random
Me
people
too.
that I don't see. Like I care about those people. I care about humanity. I care about people in general,
Amen.
right? And so when you are such a caring person, life is tough because and for me, like personally, I always care so much. I tend to care more about people sometimes than they care about themselves, and it's been a
Mm.
maturity thing that I've had to get to in order to not put like my expectations or my perceptions
On
on
them.
everybody else, right? because
Right.
because then that's how I now get taken advantage of, or now I'm hurt and you don't even care. I care more than you care. You know what I'm saying?
I've
So
been
that's like
there.
been a maturity thing. Yep.
Yeah,
There's been a
I've been there.
maturity thing. And that happens because you care so much about people and you want them, you see the good in them. You see all the um everything that they could be in from
Right.
your mind, right? And you're just putting your
Exactly.
perception on them because a lot of times they don't even want none of the things that you want for them. They
Nope.
just want to be comfortable, and that's fine too, right? I want people to live their life and be happy with who they are. Not everybody. I'm kind of crazy, honestly, you know, and not everybody
Me
is
too.
like me, and not everybody takes everything as serious as I do, and that's okay, right? And I have to be okay with that being okay,
Right.
and I have to lock in with the people that do take things serious with me and be able to move forward with them with that and let people be who they are because people are who they are gonna be,
There's nothing you could
and
do
I
about
can't expect them to be anybody else, right? Like a squirrel, he gonna act like a squirrel, he gonna be a squirrel. A
it.
thief, I could expect a thief to do thief things, right? Like a bird, he gonna do bird things, right? A liar, he's gonna lie. Like I
Right.
expect people to be who they are, who they show me. I really believe how you do one thing is how you do all things. I really take that seriously.
Right.
And
Right.
um
I agree.
and one thing I want to touch on with like there's so much. Your story is crazy. We could talk for hours, but
I
one thing I
know.
really wanted to touch on that you brought up is advocating for yourself. You are a black woman in America, and like you said, you went in, you had relapse or a reoccurrence, right? And he
Yeah.
dismissed you. He
He
completely
dismissed
dismissed
me.
you. He said, "Nah,
Yes, he did.
this is not cancer." And if you had not said something, you would have just been living. You could have died. It could have progressed, and something could have happened, and your life could have been lost because he tried to dismiss you and act
Yep.
like your problem wasn't a real problem. So, can you
Exactly.
speak to that a little bit about like advocating for yourself? Like I said, you're a black woman in America. You're not the only person. You're not the only person that I've heard this happen to. And
Wow.
and can you kind of speak to that a little bit and your perspective on what that looks like?
So if I can elaborate, I don't really know the words, but I'm gonna try to come up with it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember when I had the lump under my arm, for example. I just say make sure you pay attention to your body, and get treated immediately. A lot of people wait. I had a friend who didn't take the GYN, how you say, the GYN test every year, and she waited so long that by the time she got to the hospital to get checked, they told her she had cancer and it had spread, and she passed away. So I want to tell you guys, like, make sure that you pay attention to your body. And then when you go into these hospitals, when you're advocating for yourself, like, ask questions. If you don't know what questions to ask, go on Google or do some research before you go there and ask it in there, because a lot of times you don't know what to ask. So do the research first, right? Just ask, okay, what could this lump mean? Where can this go? How long can this be treated? Because a lot of people just don't ask questions. And then because you're so scared and you're so nervous that you forget that this is important, and you have family and your loved ones that are relying on you and your life to be present. And the only way you're going to remain present is if you get treated. So the lump was the first one. And I'm glad that I was adamant about keep going back and asking questions. And then she said, oh, no, we need to get you immediately treated for a biopsy. And then the second thing was with the doctor, the chief. He was the chief of the hospital. He was not very nice. And, when he said that's not cancer, I came back at him because I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid because if I didn't challenge him, my life, like you said, would have been at stake. So don't be afraid, because they're just human beings. They're not God. They're human beings that sometimes make mistakes. But you don't want that mistake to be detrimental to your health. So you have to say, all right, maybe that's how you feel. Okay, that's great. But we're not going based on that. We're going based on what the test findings are. So proceed and keep pushing and keep pushing. If you don't get the service that you feel is warranted from that doctor, then go seek another doctor. Go to another hospital. But don't give up, because there are people out here that do care. And also, I believe that doctors, they see so much cancer that they're human. After so much time, I don't hold anything against him, but they do see it so much that it's like they become like a little numb sometimes, and so it's redundant for them every single day. But for us, it's new. So just understand, just be patient. And again, like I said, if the doctor is not really, really giving you the answer that you deserve, or you feel comfortable in your spirit, then you have to go seek a second opinion, because it's worth your life. That's all I can say about it. Like, I don't really have much else for that. Yeah.
No, yeah.
But I love me. So you gotta love you. Love you, You gotta love yourself. If you don't love yourself, seriously.
That's the best thing you can do in life, is love yourself. That's
love
how
yourself.
You can help others, right? That's how, if you don't love yourself, right, you don't take care of yourself, you don't make sure you're good in all aspects of your abundance, in all aspects of your life, then you can't overflow to other people. You can't help other people. You can't lead by example, and people won't see you loving yourself. So they don't have an example. They're not seeing what that looks like. They can't observe that. The best thing that you can do is take care of yourself. That's why when you're on a plane, they say grab your mask first before you help somebody else. You got to help yourself first before you help other people, right? You got to make sure everything starts within.
This is for love.
Within. Yes.
Because my name is Rain. So This is for love. Love me, love yourself. But I love people just like you. I'm 49 years old now. So I used to do, when I was your age, like younger, I used to love on everybody and always be selfless of giving of myself. And I went through that stage where people didn't appreciate. So I started realizing that you can only help those who want to help themselves. So now I learn because I don't want to stop my energy or stop being a sweet person, stop being a good person because someone was a jerk. Because it does happen. So in order to avoid that, I kind of see if the person's reciprocating. And if they're not reciprocating, then I got to move on, because there's someone else ahead that's going to appreciate my love, my service, and my kindness. And it shouldn't be... it shouldn't be where that next person shouldn't get it because this person didn't deserve it. So I'm not going to stop, because there's a lot of people that need love. There's a lot of people that need our stories. There's a lot of people that just need to know that they are enough, that they can do it, that they can become successful, that they have everything that they need inside of them. God made us all so unique. It's amazing, but everybody's comparing in this world to someone else. I've done it myself, and it's not good to compare yourself to other people. It's more so to grow and nurture yourself and become that great person that God has made you. Because when we were babies, like when we were born without gifts. Whatever your life was going to be, it was already written. It was already written. All the stuff that you and I are going through, it was already written. There's no way that me and you survive and we're sitting here talking about living my best life, and it was hell. It was hell to get through what we went through. But you know what? Because of that hell, it turned into greatness, and now we're serving on a different level. So I wouldn't trade my story. I wouldn't trade my story. It was rough. And it was not easy, and I've cried, and I've prayed, and I prayed, and I cried. But I thank God that He's been there with me the whole entire way. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you are never alone. Although in our minds, we may be sitting in a room or something quiet and feel like we're alone, God is always listening. He's always there. He's waiting for you to realize that He's sitting right next to you, and just acknowledge Him. And He shall direct your path. I'm telling you. It's so true. I used to think I was alone. I cried. I prayed. And then I was like, God, why is this happening? The whole time, you know those footprints? I made a sweatshirt with the footprints. And the statement was like, the footprints that you don't see. And that's when God was carrying you, Yes. So... yeah, so God bless you too. Thank you for sharing your story too.
God bless you. I love this. I love everything you said. I've always been taught to like those that like me. That's what my father always taught me. He said, appreciate those and love those. There's billions of people in this world, right? And no way that one person that didn't appreciate you or didn't want you there should affect all the other, like you said, all the other people that could use your help, that could use your inspiration, that could use your light. Right. So like those that like you, right? So my last question here, before we get out of here, we're gonna wrap this up because we're kind of running a little short on time. What is the best advice that anybody has ever given you?
I don't. That's a hard question. The best advice anyone has ever given me. Okay, I got it. My dad, this is a deep one. My dad says, when you leave this earth and they put you in that casket, okay, there ain't nobody jumping in with you, honey. I don't care how much they love you, Pookie, this, that, she was sweet, he was wonderful. They are not coming with you. They may show up to your funeral. They're going to go eat your food at the repast. They might talk about you in a good way, a bad way, who knows. And they're going to go on with their lives. So you should live your life every single day and stop worrying about other people. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why we have these shirts. Living
your best life.
Like I said, Rainy made these. You can go find her on all those social media platforms, and make sure you stay in touch with Rain because she got a lot going on. I know you do.
So much going on.
I know you do some like digital marketing too. If you want, you can share something about that as well. I met Rain on Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was just going crazy on Facebook telling my story because I get these spurts of inspiration to just share, and I never know whose life I'm touching. So I used to work for the police department for 16 years, and shout out to my agents, God bless y'all. But I had to walk away after the 2-time battle with cancer, and then I lost my business in 2020. So I started researching how to find other ways to make money, and I found digital marketing. I found it to be a great platform. Digital marketing is basically reselling other products that were already created for you. So I didn't have to create anything. I just market it the way they teach me, because they actually teach you attraction marketing, and people come to me on social media platforms and they buy my products, and I really love it because I don't have to work for anybody anymore. So I thank you, God. Seriously.
Yes.
And then I started, before I forget, I have to say two things. I started a nonprofit, myself and my man, to give back to cancer awareness. It's called Living Your Best Life. And so if anybody ever wants to donate to that, just, we use music therapy as well. I do inspirational shows. And then the last thing is my man is a caterer and a chef, and he's an entrepreneur. He does everything. There's nothing he's a producer, but his food is so amazing that I just love talking about it. So it's called Stand the Man Catering LLC, and we always somewhere with music and food. I don't know what is that combination, but we're about to start something big where we can have people just come together in a beautiful light of music and food. And I think both of them are some type of therapy, because when your belly's full and you hear some good music, you just feel great and you feel alive. So thank you for everything that you allowed me to share today. I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on and sharing. Go check out Rain. Everybody know I love food. Go check out Stan the Man's food, man. Food and music.
Yes.
It can't get better than that, man. What is life without food and music? You feel me? So go check her out,
Seriously.
man. And then go follow the podcast on all social media platforms, Beast vs. Zombie. Go follow on Spotify, YouTube. You'll see the full videos that we have going on. Stay up to date on new episodes every other week. I do lives on my socials, Motivational Mondays. Check those out. I got the other perspective on Wednesdays. We're going crazy on the socials. Check out the website, BeastvsZombie.com. You get merchandise. I got shirts. I got joggers. I got swimwear. I got leggings for the girls. I got shorts for the guys. I got hats, bucket hats, all that good stuff. All proceeds go to cancer research and go to cancer awareness. This is something I got in the Beast vs. Zombie. We got shirts. It's all up. We're doing big things. So go check that out. Have a good weekend, you guys. Have a good week. Have a good night. Be a beast.